As debate over reactivating grazing routes and the ranching matter for normal herders continue, killings persist. And tonight we speak with the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, Governor Dave Umahi. And the People's Democratic Party governors today met in Akwa Ibom, suggesting solutions to the nation's problems. We'll tell you what is said after that meeting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimalo in Lagos. I guess we're still in the mood of Democracy Day celebration, as of course everyone is on a public holiday. So let's begin by telling you about the outcome of the meeting of the governors of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), who today have reiterated the need to decentralize the operations of the security apparatus in the country. One thing they believe can be achieved even within the existing legal framework. This, they say, will help to ensure the input of local operators in state and local government in policing the country. The governors have also asked President Buhari to review the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria in national interest. The chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Aminu Tambuwa, was the one who briefed after their meeting.
The forum examined the operations of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and expressed alarm at the opaque manner it carries out its operation. It decried the recent NNPC's decision not to make its statutory contribution to the Federation account, thereby starving the states and local government, and indeed Nigerians, of funds needed for employment, development, and general well-being. The meeting emphasized that under the Constitution, the NNPC is duty-bound to make proceeds of sale or business of petroleum available to the Federation account, which belongs to the three tiers of government, excluding reasonable and verified and verifiable cost of operation. The federal government, through NNPC, is a manager of our wealth, merely as a trustee for all Nigerians. The meeting frowned at a situation where the NNPC decides in a totally discretionary and often whimsical manner how much to spend, how to spend it, and how much to remit to the Federation account. PDP governors also expressed deep concerns on the operational system and methods of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Filled with regrets, the CBN is operating as an independent government within government, which is a perversion of the autonomy of the bank.
There are a lot of things that they said in that communique. It's about 14-item communique. Paragraph in the communique. But that's some of the excerpts there. Before we get talking with my guests tonight, let's quickly check out some of your political roundup stories.
Elder statesman and leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Chief Edwin Clark, is admonishing President Muhammadu Buhari to see himself as president of all Nigerians and not of an ethnic group. Chief Clark is criticizing the president for what he says is the inability of the president to speak against the atrocities being perpetrated by killer Fulani herdsmen who, according to him, are bent on disrupting the peace of Nigeria.
We can no longer continue in a country where some people regard themselves as superior to the others.
The Benue State Governor, Samuel Ortom, is calling on Nigerians and members of the All Progressives Congress across the country to team up with the People's Democratic Party to reclaim power from the APC federal government if Nigeria is to take a break from the escalating insecurity, poverty and divisiveness in the country. Governor Ortom made the call in Boko on Sunday while receiving Mr. Joseph Kaba and other leaders of the APC with over 300 supporters alongside 3 elected councillors who dumped the APC for the PDP.
In preparation for us to take over the federal government of Nigeria in 2023.
And the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari over the various infrastructure development projects in Adamawa State, describing it as massive. The SGF gave this commendation during an event to mark this year's Democracy Day celebration in Yola, the Adamawa State capital. According to him, in the last 6 years, the president has constructed a lot of infrastructure and have commissioned projects across the country, while several others are ongoing and in different stages of completion.
All our neighbors are all part and parcel of the challenges we are facing. But I think the mere fact that we are putting heads together with all these neighboring countries and the international community.
So let's get to it, shall we? Last week, the leaders in the southeast region of the country met service chiefs and some federal ministers to discuss the insecurity situation in the region. Many issues have been raised since that meeting. There are conversations on reactivating the cattle grazing routes, as said by President Buhari, in the face of the continued tension between farming communities and herders. Tonight, we have the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, Governor Dave Umahi, to speak on some of these issues. He joins us from the capital of Ebonyi State, Abakaliki. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program. And happy Democracy Day, I must say. Let's begin the conversation. I'd like to ask you. Nigerians,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nigerians are observing a public holiday to commemorate Democracy Day, but sadly, some sad news of killings in Zaria and Plateau State came up in the news today. With this tag of unknown gunmen behind some of these attacks, one will wonder who exactly these elements are. As a governor, I know you are privy to security report, and you once said in Abuja that we have been badly infiltrated in the country. But please give Nigerians a sense of clarity on who these elements, the so-called unknown gunmen, might be.
Thank you, Shehu, and good evening, viewers. Shehu, when you talk about killings, very unfortunate in Zamfara State. Very, very unfortunate, and my prayer is that God will judge the departed souls fairly and receive their spirits. But I'm not the governor of Zamfara State to begin to talk about the unknown gunmen in Zamfara State. If you ask me about my state, I should be able to say something about that.
The reason why I'm asking is that the issue of unknown gunmen is not exclusive to a certain state. These unknown gunmen, as they are tagged, they keep attacking everywhere and without people really knowing who they are. But I'm taking that premise based on the security meeting you had last week and the fact that you you said something recently that we have been badly infiltrated. Could these be the infiltrators that are perhaps behind these killings that we are seeing in the country?
The infiltration, I mean, is in terms of inciting our people, inciting the youth. That's what I mean. Not in terms of, killer infiltration. So to say, there are a lot of, sympathies and comments, beyond our region. That seems to be like, they're in sympathy with in our region. Some are. But some is merely to incite, our people, to incite the youths, so that we can do another war.
At your meeting last week, the leaders including yourself, came out to reject agitations for secession. Did you also discuss at that meeting, because federal ministers were there, service chiefs were there, but Nigerians are saying that there is need for a national dialogue. Did you discuss the need for a national dialogue and a real need, whatever that might means, restructuring, whatever it means it means different thing to anybody. Did you also discuss the need for restructuring Nigeria and the need for a national dialogue?
Well, what we discussed was precisely as it concerns Southeast, because of the restiveness of our youths and our youth's demand. I'm not sure it included national dialogue. Just some sections of Southeast youths are saying, that there is marginalization, there is, maltreatment to the people of Southeast, and they want, a country of theirs. And our position as leaders is, whom did you discuss that with? That we are better in a united and fair Nigeria. So we do not accept, their position in terms of secession. But we can, as leaders, listen to them, and that's what we're going to do on 19th of this month. We want to listen to them. We want to find the areas they feel that South is marginalized, and then we engage ourselves first and foremost to discuss it and find if there are some merits in it, and then we can engage at the center.
So, have you started, for example, in your state, these agitators, some of those whom you refer to as the restive youth, have you had time to discuss and sit down with them?
Yes, there was this beautiful program that Mr. President came up with, and that's the NSAS, program, conference, So I don't know about other states, but we've had one in our state. And it was a very beautiful opportunity because we could feel the impulse of the youth. We could feel, what the agitations are. And we also were able to tell them, where they're also feeling as youths and as young men and women of this country, that it's not all about leadership. The lead is also a problem in this country, where people can no longer sit down and look at, tangible and meaningful things to engage in. And everybody is all about politics and what we can get as easy money. That wasn't so when we were growing up, when we were in secondary schools and we were in universities. We were doing more than what is going on now. So we were able to do that, and they articulated their demands. And so we are waiting for the next stage of engagement at zonal level so that we can table this and it will also progress to the center.
If some of the youths in the Southeast region are agitated and some of them are seeking an exit from this union, perhaps one we wonder whether the leaders are also asking them why they are thinking in this regard. Maybe they have enough education or information to their agitation, because I also understand that you left the PDP because of the agitation on your mind on what you think that you should be accorded or your people should be accorded, and you're not getting in the PDP, for example. But let me ask you, frontally, Governor, do you have the feeling that your region, the Southeast, on a national scale, is being marginalized in the scheme of things in this country?
You see, this word marginalization is so ambiguous. If you ask some regions, then we feel that even some other regions are marginalizing them. And so my position about this is, let us even get all the details of the marginalization. I cannot say that, there are not some pains in terms of this marginalization in Southeast. And so with other regions, so we are addressing our own region. We are saying to our youth, no, we don't want to secede. We don't want to go away from the united Nigeria. That whatever may be their grievances, that we can sit down and discuss this. And there's a lot of misinformation, and I give you an example, and I like to say this. When we cry that, as, Indigo, that we don't have any service chief, and I say it's not true. The part of Delta is, is Igbo. Part of Rivers is Igbo. And even in Delta, we've had, the chairman of Ohanaeze coming from Delta State. And so we have somebody that is coming from New Extraction in Delta State, who is the CDS, in charge of the Joint Chiefs, And people are still saying we are not represented in the Security Council meeting of this nation. So I want to disagree with that. Number two, when Atairu was the late Atairu, may so rest in peace, when he was the chief of army staff, our brother, is it Akanon or something, was number 15 in ranking. And Atairu, out of love and relationship, took him from number 15 to make him second in command. Now, the man ought to have told our people, this is, favor done to him. And so we are representing you, so that we appreciate the late chief of army staff, and I appreciate Mr. President, because the actual owner of the military is actually the number 2, who is in charge of operations and logistics. So that didn't happen, and that's why I had to pay visit to the family of, late Atairu, on behalf of Southeast to appreciate this is what he did. And of course, his military assistant is also my junior brother who is from the same local government with me. So there are misinformation. And when it was time to replace the service chief, they said, look, this man is from Southeast, the second, person he should occupy the position. So I think it's misinformation. It's actually number 15. I would have loved if he occupies it, but that is not to say that we never occupied the chief of army staff. Let us not forget this.
All right. We are due for a break, but for Nigerians to get it clearly, you don't think that the Southeast are marginalized, just in the straight word?
It's not a straight, word thing, Shane. There are issues, and which I explained to the wonderful Honorable Minister of Defense, very wonderful man, very frank in our discussion with him. My position is that there are certain things that happen in this country where even the Mr. President, even the ministers will not be aware of. Where in a particular ministry, somebody from South is due for promotion or is due for a particular appointment, is not appointed. How will Mr. President know about it? And so my position is that we should articulate all our grievances and let the youths give us the opportunity and the chance to engage the center. All right. Some of these grievances, the one I just explained now, some of these grievances, we may take it on our own and look at the issues, and then we will be able to say, oh, this is good, this is not good. For example, I never knew that, somebody from Southeast is in charge, is second in command in Navy or in Air Force. I can't remember precisely. We need to know some of these things. And it is when these complaints are made, internally within the Southeast, so that we can all sit down and discuss it. I cannot say, Shehu, that, the Southeast is not marginalized, but it cannot be in totality.
We're due for a break, Governor. But when we come back, there are also very important issues on the issue of security, restructuring Nigeria, and the way forward from all of these challenges that we are facing. Don't go anywhere, everyone. Our conversation with Governor Dave Umahi continues after this break. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. You perhaps are talking about the security situation in the country. It's a major conversation that people now have on the breakfast table or lunch or dinner table, because it's a major concern for so many Nigerians. So last week, the service chiefs for some federal ministers met with some Southeast leaders, and tonight we're speaking with the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your time tonight. Let's continue the conversation, and let me get your view. A few Nigerians have reacted to the president's statement of the possibility of reactivating cattle grazing routes, which is perhaps in opposition or direct conflict to the stance of the Governors Forum. The Southern Governors Forum also have a similar stance with the Governors Forum that there should be a ban on open grazing. Do you imagine if the cattle routes are reactivated might cause more trouble and perhaps more Nigerians might be killed in this process?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. From my training, when you have an elder, and this time around my boss, I won't be able to make comment, on anything. If I have a position, that I need to advise Mr. President and my boss, I will have to privately go and, say, sir, this is my views about this. So I won't be able to make any comment about Mr. President's comment on that.
So the point so probably we should take away the president, because I know your position in that regard since you've explained it. But let's look at it. There's a ban on open grazing. But what do you say to those who argue that the position of the governors to ban open grazing is a mere public statement because it's not backed by law just yet?
Well, in Southeast, if you listen to our communique, we did say that each of the states in Southeast, has a law that is made by our respective House of Assemblies, and that, in that law that we made, we banned open grazing.
So if there is a reactivation of cattle grazing routes, that means that it's going to be in contravention of that open grazing. What does that? How does that make your law on open grazing look?
No comment.
But I mean, the killings, some of the governors have come out to say, is because of these consistent clashes between farming communities and these herders. But you are of the opinion, you've made this very much known, that there should be an arrangement where these guys are catered for, that they can be their cattle and their herds catered for in a certain way. Do you still hold that view?
Look, we are very clear about this matter, and the clarity on it is that we have what we agreed at National Economic Council, chaired by the Vice President, some governors, and then of course some ministers. Governors and some ministers are members, and the position of governors and the NEC is that we should practice and in fact enforce what we call an LTP, which is the National Livestock Transformation Program. This program has all the animal husbandry accommodated, be it cow rearing, be it piggery, be it fishery, be it poultry, including the planting of grasses for these animals. So everything you see contained there. And again, I chaired the sub-technical committee of NEC that went around some of the northern states, and we did a very beautiful work, in terms of where do we have, cattle routes, where do we have, gazetted grazing reserves, and they were all known, and I have addressed the press on this as permitted by the main committee chairman, which is, Mr. Vice President. So our positions are well known in this, and it's a very beautiful job. And again, I'm involved in another committee set up by Mr. President on the same matter. And so we are going back to look at, the recommendation and approval of NEC in this respect. And I think it will help us.
Would you as a governor provide land for ranching in your state?
Look, this is not about governors. It's about the people. So whatever position the people, take in this regard, that's what will happen. So there is no land that is not owned by individuals, or corporate bodies. So this is beyond governors, and that is the truth. So when people call governors, they're making a very grievous mistake. Even if I say, okay, as governor of Southeast, I want the people from this village, I want you to allow me to donate this land. The question is, will they allow it? And I tell you something, how the situation of land. I've heard about 3 communal crises in my state, and it's all about land. There's a place that I'm building the very wonderful medical university, and the people of that village, for a phase that is completed, went and brought it down. They prefer to have their farm than to have the medical college. So land is a different ballgame altogether.
But governor,
and so it's not.
Yeah. So, but let me know. Is it something that your people are willing to do, to give out lands for ranching? Have you consulted with them? Do they want you to give land for ranching?
They have said no. They have no land for ranching.
And you will stick with you respect their opinion?
Sure, they put me where I am. And if I have maybe 1 acre of land, and I'm talking about giving land for ranching, then I should be talking about that particular land. So I can't be talking about somebody's land that, yes, constitutionally I have control of, but you have to kill all the people for me to take the land, as governor. So that is the position.
All right, I just have just about a minute or so to the end of the program, but let me quickly ask you before I get to my last question. Importantly, Governor, when people are agitating that there's a need to restructure this country, in your own view, because I said earlier that restructuring means different things to different people. If you be talking to the president to summon political will to restructure this country, what would you be telling him?
Well, I have a different view about this restructuring thing. my position about restructuring. For example, there's certain valid, suggestions that have been made. For example, to have 6 vice presidents in the country. Each one is, a kind of coming from each of the, geopolitical zone. Tension will go down. This is very important. Now, I will recommend administrative restructuring, which is it, making the subnational government, to strengthening it, devolving powers and responsibilities to subnational government, abolishing the local government. But when it comes to economic restructuring, a chain is as strong as the weakest link. Every region must be given the opportunity. In fact, every state, because I believe more in states than in region. Because I was marginalized, as a state when we were more into regions. So I wouldn't want that to happen. So I talk more about states, equality of states, opportunities to states, So I would want a program, for each of the regions where we can have, for example, Southeast Economic Commission, which was approved in the Senate. It has to be represented so that we could have that. And what do we do with that? We should be looking for opportunities, comparative advantage of each state. And then there should be a fund from the federation account to develop such opportunities, in each of the states, so that you don't have very, very weak states and very, very rich states, so that all the states will be sustainable when we fully do economic restructuring.
We need to go now, but just in a few seconds, if you may, answer this question, Governor. The governor of Benue State today is asking for a united effort to remove APC from prominence in 2023. The PDP today said similar thing, that President Buhari's end of tenure might spell the end to the APC. And the PDP governors say they are working hard to rescue Nigeria from the APC. Do some of these statements make you feel like review your decision to join the APC?
Sure, you see, people are, very funny. People should give account of, their stewardship to their state. They should stop shouting APC. I have delivered as an APC state. Some APC states have also delivered. There are some, PDP governors that have delivered. So I get offended, when anybody from PDP talks about the failure of APC. If there are some, issues, at the center that have not gone very well, you can emphasize it in a way of saying, look, these things are the weaknesses of, the federal government, so to say. But otherwise, every governor is accountable to their people. And we should begin in all our states by accounting what we've done with the money given to us. We collect 48% of the federation account. So the federal government collects 52. Can we forget about 52 and account to the people the 48 we've collected? And so let people stop shouting security and hiding under security. We should give an account of what we have collected, on behalf of the people.
But, I mean, Governor, we are totally out of time. I really don't have any more time spent. But do you think that your party deserves to come into power in 2023? Does the APC deserve another chance after 2023?
The insecurity that's being used against APC is a seed that was sown, in 16 years of PDP administration. And so it started germinating, bearing fruit at the time that we were sitting. And that's what we are suffering now. And that's what Mr. President is doing everything, to solve. And I think that APC people are not marketing their APC government very well. So if everybody will talk about, the performances of the federal government and the performance of the APC governors, for example, Kaduna, Jigawa, you can name them. Tremendous achievements have been done. Mr. President has done more projects in Southeast than we had in 16 years of PDP. So we must be able to tell about what we have done.
Governor Dave Umahi, chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and the governor of Ebonyi State, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. God bless you.
And that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.